When I first became a real estate agent, I had no idea that one of the most controversial topics I'd talk about with clients wouldn't be home prices or mortgage rates, but HOA communities.
HOA communities.
People have big feelings about homeowners associations. Some love the structure and consistency they bring to a neighborhood. Others, not so much. In fact, one of the first statements I hear from buyers is, I do not want to be in an HOA, or I absolutely want to be in a neighborhood with an HOA. Hi, I'm Sarah Mislowski, a local real estate agent here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and my team and I specialize in helping clients from all over the country relocate right here to the Metro Atlanta area. So what do you need to know about HOA neighborhoods in Georgia, and why should or shouldn't you consider buying a home in one? One thing you need to know is that not all HOAs are created equal, and Georgia's are actually pretty tame. If you're relocating from out of state, especially from somewhere like Florida or California, you might be pleasantly surprised, or maybe a little bit confused. That's why it's so important to understand how HOAs work here in Georgia before you buy. I had a comment the other day on one of my videos asking, what is an HOA? So that's probably an important place to start. An HOA, or Homeowners Association, is a governing body that enforces rules, also known as the CC&Rs, or Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, for a neighborhood or subdivision. These rules cover everything from the color you can paint your house to whether or not you can park an RV in your driveway. The purpose is to preserve the neighborhood's appearance and protect property values. But those rules aren't just suggestions. They're legally binding, and violating them can come with real consequences. I recently read about a homeowner here in Georgia who purchased a house in a community where solar panels weren't allowed. He asked for permission and was denied, and he installed them anyways. The HOA responded with daily fines until he removed them. It may seem obvious, but this is a perfect example of why you should always read and understand the rules before buying a home in an HOA community. If the rules don't fit your lifestyle, you could be setting yourself up for conflict or even a lawsuit. If you want to have chickens in your backyard, use your home as a rental, or build a garage or workshop in your backyard, you're going to need to read and fully understand the covenants of the neighborhood you're buying in. We often have clients who own multiple vehicles and they want to build a shop or garage addition for more space. This is a scenario where we have to reach out to the HOA for every single home we're interested in and get a copy of those covenants and restrictions to fully understand the guidelines, because this is simply not an option in every neighborhood. Luckily though, it is pretty common for the architectural committee to spell out exactly what this additional structure can and cannot look like, and you have to submit your plans to them for approval in order to start your project. Let's say though that the neighborhood you are buying in does not allow you to do something like build a garage on your lot, and you do it anyways. The HOA can put a lien on your home. If you ever wanted to sell, you would have to pay off this lien in order to do so, which would likely take away most of the earnings you would make from the selling of your home, depending upon how steep that fine or lien was. So you need to do your due diligence before buying a home and follow the rules that are set before you. Across the state of Georgia, about 34% of homeowners live in HOA communities, totaling roughly 2.3 million residents. But that percentage is much higher in North Metro Atlanta area, in areas especially like Alpharetta, Suwanee, Buford, and Johns Creek. The number is likely closer to 60 to 70%, especially for newer neighborhoods. If you're looking at homes built within the last 5 years, there's a pretty strong chance that it's going to be part of an HOA, especially if they're in a subdivision. If you're looking in the areas I just mentioned, now there is a very strong chance that you're going to have an HOA regardless of when the home was built. These areas have tons of neighborhoods with lots of community amenities like Olympic-sized swimming pools, tennis and pickleball courts, and playgrounds. You need to know that if you're looking to be in one of these more developed towns, that most of the homes are going to be located in an HOA. And if you want to avoid one at all costs, you're likely going to need to be looking in more rural areas. Now, there will be a few homes that are built as standalone homes, just kind of plop down on a road by themselves. And these will be the homes in these areas that do not have any kind of HOA. So why do some people actually prefer HOAs? As a real estate agent, I can usually tell right away if a neighborhood has an HOA. The lawns are typically well manicured, the homes look cohesive, and the community entrances are neat and inviting. That kind of upkeep isn't accidental. It's a result of clear guidelines and regular maintenance. Without those standards, you might find yourself next to someone who hasn't mown their their lawn in months and decided that the front yard was going to be the perfect place to store an old camper. That can drag down the value of your home, much less also affect your ability to sell that house if your home is next to this eyesore. That said, not every HOA is the same. Some are strict and controlling, while others are a bit more relaxed. Typical HOA rules in Georgia might include restrictions on painting your house a certain color, putting up fences, parking on the street, or storing recreational vehicles on your property. Some HOAs don't allow short-term rentals like Airbnbs. The key is to request and review the covenants and restrictions before you move forward with an offer. If the rules feel too limiting for your lifestyle, it's better to know before you close. Obviously, the choice is yours about whether or not you feel like an HOA brings value to your home and if you want to have that structure in place where you live. Now, oftentimes when evaluating how strict or not strict a neighborhood is, I tell my clients all the time, just drive around the neighborhood and see what you see. If you see basketball goals out in the front yard or in the driveways, you know that the HOA allows that. If you see vehicles wrapped with company advertising and that's parked in front of someone's driveway, you know that the HOA allows those types of vehicles. You can learn so much just from driving around. Now, when it comes to living in an HOA or not, I understand both sides. Not wanting to pay someone else to tell you what you can and can't do, but I also understand wanting a body in place to keep your neighborhood looking nice and orderly and keeping property values high. I recently helped clients look at a home in a neighborhood that did not have an HOA. The house itself was very well taken care of, had great updates and even a nice swimming pool. But the place was almost too good to be true. When we went to go take a look at it, we quickly realized why that was the case. There was no HOA and the houses surrounding it were completely run down. Cars parked all over the place, grass 4 feet tall, and it was such a bummer because the sellers of this home had taken such great care of their house, but the people around them did not, and it majorly affected the value of their home, even though they had done their job to keep their house nice. We ended up not offering on the home because we knew that they would never be able to sell this house and make any money in the future with the neighborhood looking the way it did. Now let's talk about money. HOA fees in Georgia vary depending upon the amenities and level of service. For a typical single-family neighborhood, you can expect to pay anywhere between $600 to $1,200 per year. Gated communities or those with extensive amenities can climb closer to the $2,000 to $3,000 range annually, but these are going to be the neighborhoods that are rich in those amenities. Townhome communities usually charge higher fees since they often include exterior maintenance, landscaping, and sometimes even roof repairs. If you're looking at an active adult or 55 plus community, definitely expect the HOA fees to be in the mid 2000s up to $3,000 plus per year. But those fees often include everything from clubhouse activities to yard maintenance. Compared to the national average of around $200 per month or $2,400 per year, overall, Georgia's HOA fees are relatively affordable, and often when I talk to clients, especially from Florida, who say, we do not want to be in an HOA, we're tired of paying the HOA fees, I say, whoa, wait, let me tell you, the HOA fees here are about $1,200, $1,500 a year. And they're like, oh, that's what we pay per quarter. So once a lot of clients find out how reasonable they are, their tune changes. Now, for those ultra expensive HOAs, you might pay that much here if you're in a luxury or amenity-rich communities, but for many buyers, especially those relocating from out of state, the lower cost paired with the benefits of a well-maintained neighborhood is a great value. One of the biggest differences with HOAs here compared to other parts of the country is that when you look at townhome neighborhoods, I know I just mentioned that townhome fees are typically higher because of the extra services that they are providing, but you're still looking at around, $1,200 to $2,400 a year for a townhome community. There are many areas where people pay several $100s per month for HOA fees, like the Midwest, where it is common for the HOA to take care of exterior maintenance on the home, lawn care, and snow removal. If you're used to an HOA prices, like I mentioned before, down in Florida or other states where you pay several hundreds of dollars each month for no amenities, just know that that's not the case here in Georgia. Again, unless you're in a gated luxury community, think golf course type communities, you're likely paying less than $1,000 per year here in Georgia. At the end of the day, it all comes down to lifestyle and priorities. If you value freedom and don't want anyone telling you what you can or can't do with your property, obviously you're going to look outside of HOA communities. But if you care about curb appeal, consistency, and long-term property values, an HOA could be a smart move. Just make sure you know what you're agreeing to, because once you sign those documents, the rules are not optional. I'd love to get your opinion on HOAs. Let me know in the comment if you're for or against HOAs. I would love to hear what you think. Of course, if you're thinking about making a move, my team and I would love to help you. You can reach us by clicking the link in the pinned comment below this video. And of course, if you're thinking about making a move, make sure you check out this video next.